Call this May 19th, 2025 Carroll County Public PSA meeting to order. Reconvening from May 5th, 2025 meeting. We're here for a budget workshop. Guess turn it over to you, Mike, if you could start it.
Okay. I sent out a copy of some information in order to discuss about the Public Service Authority and the budget as this goes through. I did present handouts. I did provide them and put them on the screen so that if you have the opportunity or can see them, then it gives you an idea of where we're at. The first item we have, one we have here is our water account. So what we've done over the last several years is, you may be aware, is we've separated our water and sewer in order to determine our needed rate for each one of them. What that does is allow us to see which one supports the other. Generally in the past, the water has supported the sewer because there's more water customers in there than sewer. Sewer is a lot more difficult to run. One of the things that we've changed this year as well is we went in and separated our employees for which ones generally work on water and which ones generally work on sewer, so that we're able to separate those out as well. And what that does is help balance out the real cost. So if you have all your employees on your water side, then of course your sewer side doesn't really show what you really need to have. Okay. One of the things that we have in the past is over the last several years, we have not raised rates. We did raise, I want to say it was sewer 11, because we had one customer that, a large customer, was the one rate that we seemed to increase. But the first page of your handout has your water revenues. Now we have, I have placed on there your actuals and your anticipated. As you notice, over the time we haven't had a real growth. We have actually had about a stable, but as we go down, you'll see that water and sewer should be showing a different line. So we did add on about, I want to say about 80 new customers, somewhere around that range.
Did you say 80?
80 in the last couple of years.
How many total customers do we have on the water side?
Right at, on the water. On the water side, we have right at 4,200 customers on the water side.
4,200. The sewer side, roughly?
About 12.
12, is that all?
Yeah, 1,200, yeah.
But that's because of availability as much as anything, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, if we had, you get into I'm going to say the chicken and the egg, you get into, it gets so expensive in order to contract it out, which this board has done a really good job over the last several years as far as we looked at different ways of increasing customers. We had the money that was provided for new taps, so it's gave us, we'll eventually have we'll have probably to date 100. We've got another 15 to 20 that we still need to install, because not only did we get those grants, the water rate for a new customer, it went from $3,000 as a connection fee down to $1,500. So we've seen it's truly hard for us to keep up with all the connections because we keep continuing to have the connections. But the problem with it is it also costs you. It's about $1,000 every day. It's growing a little more, so you got $1,000 worth of materials, and then with your people and those type things. If you lose money on these things, you're only gaining $35 a month. So in order to make a real dent, it takes a lot of customers. So for 100 customers, I mean, you're probably $35,000 a year worth of
Revenue.
yes. So, but your first page shows your water revenues. But it's pretty simple. There's not really any much change in those. The availability fee, that is the revenue that's received through the county as part of the agreements that we have with them. What that is when certain projects were done, the county agreed to pay funding for these in order to have these projects move forward. A lot of times what you hope to do is when you do a project, it comes through a revenue source, so the number of customers you get pays for your service. Well, what happens is if it doesn't, in order to get the loan, you have to do a general obligation, and the Board of Supervisors in the past have provided funding. And as you see on revenue, there was a use of beginning fund of $200,000. We're not using that anymore. This budget here does not include taking, well, you're in a shortfall, so we remove that in order to show what our true shortfall would be. The next one is your water expenses. So you'll see the salary expenses. What we also did is we pulled out our part-time salaries in order to add them on this as well. So, I'm sorry. So we've actually moved some salary expenses from sewer over to here in order to show where they're supposed to be. I keep moving my finger instead of moving the mouse. As you go down through here, pretty much the same expenses as you had before. We cut down. I'm sorry. As you go down through here, they're pretty much fairly stable on our expenses. We did increase some of the cost. Our electrical expense is still floating between, in 2004, $235. We've budgeted $220. We look like this year actual, the $220 is going to be a closer number. The actuals for 2025 is December. So it's 6 months worth of service. So most likely, it's like the sewer sitting at 100 and
Just had a question on the revenue. We've got a 2025 $250,000 state grant project. What is that?
That was lead and copper.
Okay, that was for all that.
Yeah.
and it actually costs exactly what we received.
So it washed out.
It washed out from our expenses to our, and it was, this work was paid, the $250,000 was through professional services.
So basically, Mike, going back to electrical expense, tell me what all that covers in general.
Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. It's every pump station, every well house that we have.
Anything related to the water. So it doubled from 21 to 24.
Yeah.
121,000 to
Pretty much,
235,000. That's insane.
Oh.
Looks
Well,
like it to me.
It went from, you're talking about from 21?
Yeah, 21 was 121.
24, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are actual numbers brought off of the software.
Insane.
For example, the one that is the highest each month is Pleasant View. And it will be anywhere from $8,000 to $13,000 a month.
To pump.
Yeah.
Is that pump running that much harder than the rest of
Let's
it?
run
Well, it's
24/7.
It's pumping a lot, there, because that's from the regional. So, it's a lot.
And it also, it serves, all the way from, the plant, all the way past Wildwood down to, exit 14 and all that area out through there.
So-
And it also goes the other
So
direction.
it's probably gonna get worse with Wildwood coming on.
Well, hopefully, we're in a regional partnership with them, so, there was a rate increase this year at New River Regional Water, just because they're going through the same thing and then we also, are looking at getting 20% more cover, 20% more,
Reserve.
allocation in order to meet the demand. Because we were floating at 99 and I think we're down to about 78, 80% of what it is. So, I mean, if we had a customer, a large user customer at the allocation we have now, we would not be able to supply them with it.
But your biggest, what you see being biggest is the added new customers plus Wildwood. Is that a big one?
Well, it just depends. That project is set up to catch rainwater. We'll see an increase in usage most likely, but you won't see it until December of next year. And it just depends. If, you're going into the winter months, you've got wetter weather, will they, depending on the size of the facility once it's finished, will determine how much it is. There's no real good guess on how much water they will use. But for every gallon they use, we will receive an additional net revenue off of it because you'll have some increases, but
They could have caught a lot this last week.
yes. So, but that is a good pickup, the 21 to now. Just about doubled in 4 years. It has in my house too.
Has at my house too.
But as you go down through there, you'll see other incidents as well. Some of these are a little harder to pick up. We're seeing a large increase on material cost. Something, a air release valve, which was $2,000 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or about $8,000 now. So depending on what it is and where it's coming from, it really affects how much.
Is that underneath the operation supply expense?
Yes. So just to give you an idea. Now, we have done some other projects and some things. You're looking at $120,000 for 6 months. You had $150,000 for the actual year before that. With the increases in cost, about $200,000 is about a good estimate on what those are. Now, you also got to understand with the staffing we have now, they do a great job. They've always done a great job, but we're starting to try to repair things. Several years ago, if the pump went out, you have 2 in a base and one goes out, you just wait until the other one broke. Now we're trying to make sure that we're not getting the overflows that you would have before. I mean, they've been reduced real well. We've had some issues this year as far as at the Pleasant View, there's been some lightning strikes. We've turned in on insurance. But every time something like that happens, I mean, it's an expense. And we don't always get our insurance money off of it, but we're working to try to solve them problems. This is the last section of which you have on the water side. We did increase our debt payment the debt payment is approximately 60,000. It's a little bit over $60,000 for the increased allocation, roughly about $35,000. So you're looking at $70,000 worth of debt payment in order to get the extra 400,000 gallons a year. And it's really a very good cost. It's probably the cheapest renovation that we'll ever see in a plant. We don't budget a depreciation expense. We don't fund it. It's calculated through the audit, but it really, for us, as far as for a business uses it when you go to file your taxes and those type of things, it's really a way to track what you are, what you're losing in depreciation. You really should be reinvesting into your network as far as your system, but a lot of systems never able to fund their depreciation. I mean, it's just not something you can normally do and receive revenue off of. So then we step into sewer. Put my glasses back on. Okay, what you have on here is your service fees. We anticipated 900. It's about, as you look, you can see the 462 as far as your actual as of December. So pushing right around the $900,000 range. You know, you've seen a decrease. A lot of this is based on Magnolia. We lost around 400,000. That sounds pretty close. Around $400,000 worth of revenue. Now we did cut a few expenses, but as far as the processing of it, but we did lose that revenue. We did take out, there was a reserve fund. We were using approximately $206,000 worth of reserve. That's savings to balance it. And then the county provides us with the availability fee. There's not a whole lot of additional revenues you find from anything else. The 47 was from the EDA as far as, does that sound right?
It's 47 from last year.
Yes. Well, that's the difference between what we anticipated this year under our to that. So we've never really received that funds. Going to expenses. With our salary expenses, our actuals were around 180 this year, where we moved some of the funds over to some of the expenses over to the water and added a part-time salary in here as well, based on the one part-time employee at the sewer plant. Is that correct? And now this budget does increase and include in salaries. We're going to do away with one employee. We have one employee that is retiring. We're going to move somebody up sort of into that position and then do away with another position. So that position we feel like we could do in the office without. So there is some additional savings. Equipment maintenance expenses went up. Might not be enough in it, but our pump and haul expense has been expensive. We're hoping we don't have to do as much of that. Exit 1 is running pretty well. Hopefully, once we get these screens placed, then we'll be able to get away from our consent order, and that's been our goal. Another big change is Town of Hillsville expense. They processed our sewer correctly for Magnolia and that area through there. So you'll see a decrease in revenue to them. So it's almost $100,000 since 2023. That's been a pretty large hit. It's probably over the county and us both over $1 million worth of lost revenue in the last year and a half, 2 years. Debt payments, it is what it is. Other than that, the total negative we have in sewer is $273,000, and in water, approximately $600,000 in revenue that we're short. The next page that you have shows your debt service. It also shows that there's really no time soon that you're going to see anything paid off. We might, well, within a year from now, there's some debt service that's not showed on here through the New River Regional Water Authority that will be paid off. But other than that, there was one on here that's paid off on 12/1/24. This actually came out of our last year's audit. So within a year, just on these debts, you're about $847,000 worth of payments to debt, with about almost $21 million worth of debt. Okay. So also here is funds recommended or required. What this does is tells us what we have in the bank and what we're required to have. Debt service reserve, the projects are listed below it. And what we're required to have is depending on whichever loan it is, there's a certain amount of payments that you're required to have in the bank that is restricted. In other words, you're not supposed to touch this money. We report on it every year. We make a payment every year in order to try to get to the total that is required. So as of right now, well, as of a month and a half ago, we're required to have approximately 771,000, and we currently have 763. So we're doing pretty good there. We're about 8,000 behind on that one. On our O&M reserve, that has the two projects underneath it as well, the Cliffview and Fancy Gap. So these are the required, approximately together 441,000 is required. It's another item that we report on. Current funds, we have 253,000. So we're 188,000 short. With the next item is you go down long-lived, short-lived assets. This is what is recommended. And when I say recommended, this is what you're really supposed to have. It's not reported on. It's where you want to be. But if you fall below that amount, then you're not really jeopardizing your loans. The recommended amount is almost 1.2. We have about 400,000. In order to meet the recommendation, we would need another $767,000. Total required, we're almost $1 million in the hole of funds that we need. if you look really hard, what we've done is went in here, calculated each one of the water, is what you see on this page, showing the shortage based on the budget and also actual customers and how much their bill is based on each category. Okay, so what this shows you an increase of $4 on the minimum and $1 per thousand. Generates about $310,000. Once you increase the rates on the first year, the second year is another recommended $4 a minimum and $1 per thousand. That would generate twice as much, $610. And the third year would be $2 on the minimum, which would put you, and if the budget doesn't change, now I want you to understand this is without any type of increase, this is out without any type of salaries, this is out without any tariffs. It's operating at the same budget amount you're going to do here for the next 3 years. It would produce $715,000 worth of revenue, and if you go to the bottom of it, according to the estimates here, if you were to do these increases over the years, it would put you $155,637 less than what you have in the bank now. And that's because when we started talking about the budget, you don't want to go in there and do it all at once. So we try to spread it out over a 3-year period in order to balance the water fund. Okay, we'll move over to the.
You may have said it, Mike, but what does that mean to the average customer?
The average customer, it is. I'm sorry, I should have this.
2441 and 11.
I had it, I just didn't put it on this.
I'm thinking it's $6 to $8 a month, but I can't remember the number.
For the first year?
Yeah.
First year it'd be approximately $6.
So it's going to be $24 by the third year?
Well, the last year's only
that'd be
$2
18.
on the thousand.
Oh, it's
so,
not as much.
Yeah, so on the monthly balance, you're looking at
$14.
If they just have water.
$6 in the second year too.
yes, $6. It's $4 on the minimum, and then the average person uses around I'm gonna say what is it, 3,500 gallons a month. Some use the minimum, and some use more. My house, we use a lot, but we have a lot of people. So if it was, and then it's not the first, it's $2.50, so plus the $4, so that'd be $6.50 first year, so it's $13, and the last year is another $2 a month, so $18 over, no, $15 over 3 years per month. So as we were talking before, you've got a lot more water customers than sewer. So in order to, and sewer's a lot more expensive to operate. It's a lot more expensive to expand as well. As you notice on the spreadsheet here as well, we did the same thing, the $4 first year and $1 on the 1,000, same thing on the second year. The last year we had to do it one more time, so your 19, off the top of my head, about $19.50 over a 3-year period on the sewer per month. So it'd be $6.50, approximately $6.50 on there as well.
And $2 on the third year again,
$4 on the third year to
$4
get
on
there.
the third year on sewer.
How do our rates compare to like town of Hillsville?
Now, we have in our next,
I don't use me, but
what's that?
I don't have that, the rate with me.
Okay, what we did is, this would be their proposed advertisement as far as the rates that are going. We had to put in an additional rate for residential sewer because we're losing money on it right now.
What happens with where it says town,
Mhm.
everything on 221 to the elementary school,
Mhm.
the town treats our sewer. So we bill the customer. In turn, we turn into the town how much water they use, and they bill us. And we've gotten behind over the past few years because when we had the rate increase, it was supposed to go for a number of years. And then the board decided not to continue with that rate increase. We're actually losing money on that. So in order to keep up with what the town has gave me as their proposal for the next 3 years, we had to put in before with our normal sewer rate, we could stay with the town.
Right.
But going forward, we won't be able to on residential. We had to make a special rate for the elementary school. And of course, Magnolia has a special sewer rate because of the town. But since the rates has been increasing with them, our normal regular sewer rate for residential we can't keep up with the town unless we make a new rate for residential going forward. Because they have gave us what they've proposed for the next 3 years.
Yeah, I was just making a comparison to what I've got, at my shop out there. It's in town,
Town rates are
way higher.
a lot.
Yeah, because they're like, for a 30-day period for commercial, they got me as commercial, it's $51 just for water. So I mean, my bill for 2 months is like $200 some.
Now, do they bill you
Bi-monthly.
bi-monthly? That's
Yep.
how they bill us.
Yeah, every
as
2
well.
months. Yep. And I never use anything. I'm always well below the minimums because I'm never there, but it's got to have it. But I just wondered how we compared on the residential. I didn't know.
One other item that we adjusted, it was due to the cost of sewer. We did raise our customer rate for anybody that used over 200,000 on the I'm looking for that. It would be under the sewer 12. We did.
On here, we see it as commercial, but
Um,
we see on the rate sheet. Is going to be. It'll be 9 and 12 on the rate sheet. We need to add a 12 here.
I just want to tell you the right amount. We increased that customer.
I got my sheet right here. We actually increased them the first year $10. And we still was
About 48,000 on the first year, and another second year.
that gets one customer. The second year.
That's correct. Around. Well, it's actually 40,000 first year. And then an additional, it's about 60,000 total over a 3-year period. We raised it the first time and the second time. And that was the only increase. We made that increase once before, a few years ago. It was the only increase that we made in rates. And I think we did about, we received additional revenue about 35,000. So.
I have the rate sheets typed out if y'all like one.
And
for
they're
each year.
included in there as well. Do you have the
I got
current?
The current rate sheet?
I got the current one as well,
Okay.
if y'all like.
Yeah, I'd like to see the current.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The spreadsheet you put together with the blue spreadsheet was basically based on the highest increase, correct?
Which is, I'm sorry.
This spreadsheet was based on the highest.
Yes, that is just in order to come to the budget. Now, we can change some of those numbers around as far as it's pretty much everybody pays a minimum. So that's one of the ways that you increase rates in order to get there. The dollar per thousand is not make or break other than somebody uses a lot of water. So.
Any discussion?
Did you do any projections, Mike, on increases that you expect to have on residential over those 3 years?
As far as cost estimates in the future,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
I do feel that you're going to see these increases. I'm an optimist. I hope that as we continue to repair, we can cut down some of our immediate cost. In the last year, we've probably seen a high increase in repairs. Also, we're looking at a way of finding funding in order to do a study as far as trying to find the money to do it, in order to do a asset management plan. And what that'll do is go in and they'll go to all the pump stations, hopefully through water and sewer, if they can find enough funds to do it. And they'll go get the age of them, the type. Then we can start tracking all the repairs that we are making in order to try to find out where we're having issues and then try to address those issues as well. Just to give you an example, there was a line at Magnolia that a well was at, and the well has been used for a lot of years. Well, it never had a cutoff for the outside line, so it started leaking. Mm-hmm. So we were pumping water. So you had to coordinate that at the same time, because in order to work on the well, you had to cut the school off and you had to cut Magnolia off. Mm. So you had to coordinate that as well. But we were able to get those fixed. But those are just, several years back, I shared some photos of pump stations, well houses, some of the issues that we have. So I'm hoping as we move forward, we'll be able to see less and less repairs, be able to catch them a little quicker. We've had some, we've had some additional costs with extended lines this year that was unexpected, just because it's, with all these repairs, it's almost impossible for our guys to do all this work. So moving forward, I think that we'll pretty good in shape, but I can do some estimates on what.
Well, it's okay. I just was curious. I mean, what you thought, based on how many new customers we'd have coming on, things of that nature.
Really, with the new customers, you'll see a gradual increase. To be honest with you, I felt bad going any higher on the rates. I mean, it's a sizable increase, and my recommendation is to move forward with these increases and look at it in the next year to see how we're standing, seeing how the costs are. Hopefully, we can make it at least these 3 years with this. We had a little bit of play in our short-lived assets as far as revenue, but if it gets worse, we can look at the rates later. But hopefully, everybody here knows this is a sizable increase in order to catch up to where, if we'd have been for the last 8 years or 10 years, been increasing rates on a small percentage each year, then you get to this point.
And it's hard to make up a Magnolia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Absolutely.
hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's basically what the cause of it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just,
Well, between Magnolia and the loss of the availability fees, I mean, you're looking at a $800,000-900,000 cut to this budget. We've done well. It's just eventually the money's got to come somewhere. So
I'm noticing, like, you know, on your commercial side, it's basically staying the same as the residential, isn't it?
That's
The
what
increase?
rate's been,
Yeah. Yeah, even in the increasing, would there, I mean, would there be any room to, I mean, how many commercial customers do we have?
And that's part of the issue, when you know, when you go to, and I could pull those up and tell you how many,
About 200 and something
200 something?
off the top of my head.
to give you an example there's, on sewer 12, there's 102 customers, well, less than that, about 99 customers that you're increasing.
On the
And,
water side, see what it is.
and, well, that's on the
Sewer line.
one, so, on the water side,
Now, years ago, we did have, like, the commercial rate was more
Yeah.
than residential. And then the authority at that time voted to make them the same.
The same.
I mean, that's something you could look at and see how that would change
Yeah.
things.
it just depends on which customers that you are
Yeah,
looking
we
at.
just don't have that many. It
Right.
doesn't make a
Wouldn't make
huge
it-
impact.
Make a big
huge
change.
impact,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Have to have a big increase, make any
Yeah.
significant change.
We have so many people that's never connected,
Right.
that has their water meter out there.
Right.
So that's the reason, and so many that don't use a lot, that's the reason you have to go hard on the minimum, or
Right,
you don't get anywhere.
yes. And as far as this non-user fee, is that something that's collected, or?
It is, that's, that non-user fee is like, most of the projects were grandfathered in,
Okay,
but later on, every project was mandatory.
yeah,
If it goes 200 foot in front of your home, you pay that fee.
yeah,
And at one time, we did have that fee the same as the minimum fee,
oh, okay,
and then they reduced it to that $6.
I remember.
And the sewer flat is just the customer, it just has sewer, you don't have a way to meter their sewer, cause
Right.
you know, customers pay based on their water usage.
right,
So that sewer flat is just, they're just paying for sewer, and,
Yeah.
but we have no way of knowing what's going in the sewer system.
So how many meters are there out there that are paying just user fee?
I think the last time we looked at it was high, it was around 5, wasn't it? 500, it's a lot. You know, Glayville Cranberry Water, and when we say that, you know what area we're talking about, up at Galax. There's folks that's paid that minimum for, I've been here 26 years, and they've paid it that long and never connected.
never connected.
I guess the hindsight thing might would have been, it wouldn't went over well, but that you had to connect.
Yeah.
You know, some localities do that. Probably wouldn't go over very well,
No,
because we all like to keep our well if we can and not have to. They're kind of paying it like to have insurance. They got water out there.
right.
So this 500, how the customers that it passes by that they don't use our water, that would be, you add that to the 4,200 roughly that we have, that would.
No, now they're counted as customers.
No, they are.
They're counted as
They're
customers.
part of the 4,200.
Because they're 0 to 1,000
They're
gallon.
part of the number.
They do have a meter, yes.
So you'd have to subtract that. So there's about 3,700.
Mhm.
And then there's, could be 500 more that could be paying that, so I don't know what, 15% maximum
Yeah, not much.
possible growth
They've got a meter.
with our
they're just not
current
using it.
system. Yeah,
So they actually pay the non-user fee when they do have a meter.
They pay the 2141, so then they would be paying the,
Is that water 10?
yes, water tank.
that's the ones with.
And
the
then they
meter.
would go up to the 2441. The one that's actually the non-user does not have a meter
Okay.
at all. They would have to, like, say they ran out, their well went bad, they
Yeah.
would have to pay the connection fee
Yeah,
and then get a meter. But if you have a meter, you're 0 to 1,000, you're getting the 2141 right now.
when the well goes dry.
Mhm.
And they gotta come up with the money to connect to it.
That's what convinced me finally. I wasn't dry in the end.
The one you're gonna impact the most is the one that has the water and sewer, and that's gonna be
And they're the fewer.
yes. And they're gonna be all up towards the Galax area and, here in the Woodlawn area.
Anybody wanna make a motion on the recommendations on it?
I'm gonna bring up a question and it, if you want to look at this, we really, need to advertise for a public hearing.
Right.
So, if you're gonna make a motion, it's to go to public hearing, not to accept the rates.
So I make a motion, we have a public hearing on these proposed rates.
I second that.
Okay, I got a motion and a second, to move to a public hearing on a proposed rate increase. See if we can start the voting. Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Slate?
Yes.
And I vote yes. I guess that's about all we can do tonight, ain't it, at this point, so. I'd like to entertain like to do the authority members' time, and I'd like to start with Mr. Collins.
Just thank everybody for working on the budget and having it ready for us.
Mr. Bryant?
Yeah, same thing. I know it's a lot of work goes into it to try to make the numbers match up. Y'all have done a good job, and we appreciate that.
Mr. Slate?
Well, it wasn't a fun process, but it's something that has to be addressed. And I appreciate all the help that Mike and Dana put into this. A lot of data.
And I just want to reiterate that I appreciate all the work the staff's done into this. Looks like it's the time we're in right now. I kind of hate it. We don't have much choice. We've got to make some decisions here on what we're going to do, and we're at a deficit. We're going to have to do something. So I appreciate all your work. Thank you very much. Entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make that motion.
I second it.
Got a second? All right, start the voting. Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Slate?
Yes.
And I vote yes.